Okay, we're going to look at the next question. We're going to look at the next question in this question 4.2, one that's a little bit harder. We just figured out that a must be equal to 2 in this, so it's y equals 2 to the x minus 1. We knew that that's y equals minus 1. We know that. Y equals minus 1 is the asymptote. Well, let's try this question. We're going to use a point to determine b algebraically. Well, we don't know what b is, but we knew q was minus 1. I think this is the function g of x, but that g of x is really just y. Well, here's the formula of the way we're going to use it. Y is equal to b over x minus 1. Well, what point can we use? This is the hyperbola. Well, we've got a point here. We know that it goes through 2 and 0. When x is 2, y is 0. Well, there's the equation we're going to use. Now, instead of y, we're going to put 0. And instead of x, we're going to put 2 because we've got 2 and 0. We just do that. Put y, put 0, x, put 2. Now multiply everything by 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times b over 2, it cancels. You just get b. And minus 1 multiplied by 2 is minus 2. And then add 2. So you get b equals 2. Now we know y equals 2 over x minus 1. We just used this point to figure out what b was algebraically. Okay. Now that means that function g of x is really 2 over x minus 1. B is that number up in the top. It's x in the bottom. That makes the hyperbola. The asymptote is y equals minus 1. The other asymptote of the hyperbola is x equals 0, the y-axis. Okay, let's look at the next question. Ooh, it looks a little bit hard, and Mr. Autry just told me that it's a little bit out of the curriculum, but it's really not so hard because you can see, what if you had a function that was y equals minus a to the x minus 1? Well, we just figured out a was 2. So in other words, instead of 2 to the x minus 1, it was minus 2 to the x. Well, the first question is actually pretty easy because it says find the y-intercept. So all we do is rub out the x and put a 0. Well, that's minus 2 to the 0 power. 2 to the 0 power is 1. And minus 1 is minus 2. So the first question was just find the y-intercept, and that's easy. But then, is it an increasing function? Well, you know what happens here is because it's negative, instead of getting bigger and bigger, what happens is you go from right to left, it gets smaller and smaller. You can see this point right here. It's minus 2. It's minus 2 is the y-intercept. It's going down. And the question here it's asked, is h of x an increasing function? Well, look, as we go from left to right, it's getting smaller and smaller. So the answer to that question is it's a decreasing function. It's not an increasing function. It gets smaller as x gets bigger. And the very last question says, state the range of f. State the range of f. Well, f was this red thing, the exponential equation. The range means all the things that y can be. You see this red function here, the exponential? It never gets down here, does it? It's always bigger than minus 1. And that's all. That's your answer. It's that easy. The range, all the things that y can be, is always greater than minus 1. But y can be any number, any fraction, irrational number, all the real numbers. And that's what this means. Y is an element of the real numbers. It's every number you can imagine, as long as y is greater than minus 1. And that's called the range of f. And that's the end of these questions from the 2019 function questions Fishhook High School exam that we did. Okay, so that's it.